This is the Making Stitches podcast. Coming up in this first episode, we'll be hearing from a couple of designers who are making the most of lockdown.
These are unprecedented times that we're going through, aren't they? And, you know, I've got that much scrap yarn and Linda's got that much. You know, if you're a crocheter or a knitter, you have tons of it. And, you know, if you can make something pretty out of something ugly, well, ugly times, aren't they? They're not that. That's the thing. That's what I'm trying to say. You get something nice at the end of it.
Obviously, everyone who's taken part in making the pattern, they've got the releases to look forward to every week. But we've got to keep on top of the pattern in order to have those releases there on time. So it gives us focus as well. So we're not dwelling on the weird situation that we're all in at the moment.
Hello and welcome to the first ever episode of the Making Stitches podcast. My name's Lindsay and I love to fill my spare time by making things. I learnt to sew, knit and crochet as a child and I was taught by my lovely gran during those long childhood summer holidays. As an adult, I picked up my crochet hook again about 8 or 9 years ago, this time using crochet blogs and YouTube tutorials to relearn the skills I'd learned as a child, as well as to build on those techniques. Now, after a few years of following crochet blogs, I thought I'd have a go at blogging myself, and 5 years ago I started my own blog, Postcard from Gibraltar, where I've written about our family life here in Gibraltar as well as my crafty pursuits. One thing I love as much as making is hearing people's stories, and after many months of thinking about it, I decided that now is the time to launch a podcast focusing on crafts and the stories of the people who make them. Just like many other places in the world, here in Gibraltar we're experiencing a social lockdown because of the coronavirus pandemic. We're all confined to our own homes and so many people are reaching for crafts because we have the time for one thing and because it's something to do during those long hours at home. It's something that calms the mind. There's something therapeutic about crafting, especially at a time like this. As in many other places, here in Gibraltar we've been celebrating our key workers who are helping to keep us all safe and keeping life ticking along. Every night at 8 o'clock we clap and cheer, bang pots and pans together and even blow trumpets and bugles to celebrate our key workers. Here's just a little snippet of what goes on here in Gibraltar every night at 8 o'clock. Did you hear that fabulous bugle playing? Well, that happens here every day, and often the boats out in the bay honk their foghorns as well to join in. Now, enough of the pandemic, let's focus on Pandemonium. Pandemonium is a crochet-along which has been organised by the ladies behind the Crochet Sanctuary. Lisa Hesketh and Lynda-Rose Simonini run the Crochet Sanctuary and they leapt into action almost as soon as lockdown was announced in the UK, which coincidentally was the same day that we went into lockdown here. They've launched the Pandemonium CAL. The pattern is released twice a week on a Wednesday and on a Sunday, 7 rows each time, so that's 14 rows of a blanket each week. And now there's a huge community of crocheters who are taking part in the Pandemonium CAL. I caught up with Lisa and Linda and spoke to them about the CAL, about the Crochet Sanctuary, but first I asked them how they got into crochet in the first place. Linda was a very early starter.
When I was about 5, my mum taught me to crochet because I severely failed at knitting. And then, so I learned when I was really quite young. But then as an adult, I went to the Black Sheep Wools, which is a yarn shop that's quite local to us. And I saw an amigurumi book, but they were knitted. So my mum-in-law, she taught me the basics of knitting then. I was horrific at it. But I thought I'll order myself a book and then I'll be obviously very excited when I can finally do it. And when I went online, I found out like amigurumi's actually crochet, and I'd been looking at the only knitting book like in existence. So I could already actually do it. So then I just went a bit mad and I crochet constantly now.
What about you, Lisa?
Do you know what? I actually didn't start crocheting until about 4 years ago. My kids have kind of gotten to their teenage years, and my husband would sit in a different room on his PS4, and the kids were sitting upstairs, and I kind of found myself sitting there thinking, oh, I'm not needed anymore. So, and my dog, Pip, she'd been for a groom, and it was winter, and she was freezing, and I thought, you know, I'm sure I've been buying this magazine subscription thing that kept coming with hooks and yarn and knitting needles, and I sent my husband up into the loft and I said, could you bring it down? I'm going to try and knit her a coat. Well, I couldn't get the hang of knitting. So I tried to crochet her a coat. Well, that went out the window rapidly, and she only got that coat last year. But I carried on. And yeah, I think me and my sister were on a diet, and she'd said, she sent me a pattern of a hippo. What was that pattern, Linda?
Heidi Bears.
Heidi Bear. She sent me a pattern of a Heidi Bear hippo used with African flowers. And she said, that'll stop us from eating rubbish if you could make me one of them. Well, she only just got that last year as well. But yeah, that's what kept me, that's what kind of started me off, and I haven't stopped. Just haven't stopped at all.
That makes me feel better, knowing that it takes so long to complete projects.
Yeah. But no, I literally crocheted every single day since then, unless I've been really poorly or something. But yeah.
Do you find it therapeutic?
Yeah. Switch off, don't you? It's nice.
And how did you two ladies meet?
Well, I had really got into crocheting, and I was doing Helen Shrimpton's Mandala Madness. I've been buying Amanda Bloom's little box of crochet, and I was really into it. But none of my friends crocheted, and I think my mum and dad were getting a little bit fed up of hearing me going on about it as well. And I was looking for a local group, and there wasn't one anywhere. So I was buying some yarn in Hobbycraft one day in Warrington, and they had a sign up about crafters using their table. And I said, can I use it? And they were like, well, what do you want to use it for? Do you want to teach? And I was like, no, I don't want to teach, just as a, like a bitch and stitch. And they said, yeah. So we started it in the August. And I think, when did you come, Linda?
Towards Christmas, I think. Maybe November.
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah. So that's when I think I must have sat on my own. There were some weeks where my friend's mum would come along, but I think she was just coming along so that I wasn't sat on my own. She just went for the chat, really. But people would just come along and sit down and join us, and then started to get some regulars like Lynn. Lynn used to come every single week. So if it was ever, some days there was just literally myself and Lynn sitting there until Linda joined.
Yeah, so I was on Twitter one night and Lisa had been tweeting about it, and I've got panic and anxiety disorder, so I went for, I think it was about 3 years of my life where I didn't go out the house unless I was with my partner, because I just couldn't deal with being outside. And then I'd seen this tweet and I replied and said, oh, I didn't know there was a crochet group at Hobbycraft. So Lisa was like, you've got to come on Saturday.
Please.
So I was like, yeah, okay. So then my partner drove me on the Saturday, and we sat outside in the car park, and I was there like dead early, because like when I'm a bit panicky about something, I like to be there early to sort of scope out the situation. And then I seen everybody going in, and I'd already Facebook stalked Lisa, so I knew what she looked like. And I said that she'd gone in with her sister, and I just turned around to Paul and I was like, can't go in, not doing it, I can't do it, I'm going to be sick, just take me home. So he went in his pocket and pulled out £50 and said, I'll give you it if you go in. Well, I went in, £50. And then I think I've only missed maybe like 2 or 3 weeks, like through illness since then, every week, until we started the sanctuary, obviously, and then I missed those weeks. But yeah, I just went every week after that. So.
Oh, that's brilliant.
I think it was only about 3 or 4 months after Lynda had joined, and we were sat on our own one day. I can't remember if it was at Easter or something.
Something like that, yeah.
And I said I was moaning about hobbycraft and knitcraft, saying that they only ever do knitting patterns, and it's out of order. And I said, we should do a cow. And Lynda was like, no. Well, yeah, we should do a cow. Really? So we dropped them a private message, didn't we?
Yeah, and said, like, could we get a discount on some yarn to do, like, a cow? And they were like, oh, if you do it for us, like, we'll give you the yarn. And we were like,
brilliant.
Very excited.
So we've done about, how many have we done?
I'm not sure. I can't even remember.
I think we might have done 5, and then if you count the Christmas bauble ones, including that's 5, I think. 5 cows we did through Knitcraft.
And of course that takes us very nicely onto the CAL that's going on at the moment, the Pandemonium CAL.
I'm loving it, absolutely loving it. We've got a different way of working this time, haven't we?
Yeah. It is a bit different.
You were very quick off the mark, pretty much almost as soon as lockdown happened and Boris Johnson had announced that we all had to stay indoors. You had that pattern up there ready to go, and you've now got this amazing community of people. Have you any idea how many people are actually doing it?
There's 6,000 members. Somebody did a poll the other week, didn't they? I don't know if everybody... It said that there was a couple of hundred, but I think it might be a bit more than that, really.
Some of them don't post, and then all of a sudden they'll post a picture, and you're like, oh, I didn't know you were doing it.
No, you were on here. That's nice. Yeah, they don't. Some of them don't post till they've finished, do they?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. So I'm a bit naughty because when we decide to do something, I'm always guilty of getting excited and racing ahead, and Lynda gets a bit annoyed at me.
Don't get annoyed. It's just that's where the problems start, because she'll get so far ahead with something, I get confused to what I'm doing half the time then, and then by the time I catch up to where she was when I've said something about it, like it'll be like wrong, or there'll be something, and it just gets confusing. So we've changed the way we're doing it this time, and it means Lisa can race ahead. In fact, she's encouraged to race ahead, and then I'm just behind. We'll discuss what stitch we fancy doing next, but I'm quite a bit behind because I'm checking everything and changing anything that's changed. So it's working well this time. Lisa ahead. But usually it's not good.
No, we usually there's always problems, isn't there? But I am racing ahead a little bit, so that we've tried, because we've also got to take into account that if one of us gets poorly, haven't we?
Yeah.
That we've got to have a good few weeks ahead, so that for continuity, really. So the way we're working it is, obviously, have a chat with Lynda and see what stitches she wants to go in next, and our admin girls as well, because we've got a lovely group of, and boys. We've got Paul that's just joined our admin as well, Lynda's partner. But asking them, what do you want to see next in it, or what would you like more of? And then I'm sending I'm not the best at pattern writing at all.
We both have our individual skills, don't we?
Writing's not one of mine. So I will send over a rough pattern and pictures to Lynda, and then Lynda just magically fixes it and makes it fit. And then she crochets it and takes the pictures and puts the pattern together, ready for releasing. And then between us all and the admin, we kind of manage the Facebook page, don't we? Because that can be a full-time job.
I can imagine, with 6,000 people on it. Goodness me. It makes my eyes water thinking about it.
Yeah.
It gets busy.
Yeah. I think the first CAL that we ever did was a bit of a shell shock, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because we didn't realise how many people were going to join and how many people were going to take part, and just how right, you have to get your pattern. Because we've never done it before, had we?
And we didn't factor in, obviously, that not everybody that joined the group is in the UK, so we'd be getting messages in the middle of the night, and then Lisa would be getting up to answer them because she felt bad leaving them, and it just became a busy time that we didn't expect.
I think at one point I actually left the group and said, I'm not doing it anymore. It was a bit, yeah.
That's a good thing about there being two of us, because we both got our own skills. So Lisa has the wacky ideas, and then I agree to do them and try and figure out a way to do them. And then, so when it comes to writing the patterns, Lisa has obviously raised a head and she'll send me things, and then my thing is getting the patterns as sorted as possible and try and get rid of my silly little mistakes, because anytime Lisa sends me a pattern, there's never ever a row 3. She always goes from row 2 to row 4, so I have to watch out for that, and then I miss out stupid little things. So we're quite lucky because we send the pattern to our admins to crochet it so that they can check and find the mistakes that I've missed.
That sounds brilliant, like you're a real team all working together.
They're brilliant. And we've got Sarah as well, haven't we?
Yeah.
I went to school with Sarah and when we were at high school, and she's got this amazing life, I think. Her and her husband travel around the America in a camper van.
Wow.
Yeah, and he does pinstriping, and so they just travel around the US pinstriping cars and these big pinstriping events. So she does all of our overnight stuff, doesn't she? So
yeah,
she'll
she's ready for being there when everyone else is sort of asleep. And then we've got my sister, who I roped in to be one of the admins, so she's quite good because she usually helps people out. And then we've got Kathy as well, and she's in the UK as well, so Sarah takes care of the evening and like the night, and then the rest of us have the day. And then we just, as Lisa said, roped my Paul into being there as well, seeing as he's just learned to crochet. So
oh, brilliant.
Wow.
So the man who was responsible for talking to you into going to that first crochet group's now being taught to crochet too.
Yeah, he loomed more than anything else, but he can crochet now because he's coming to a sanctuary this year, and he's actually coming for the weekend. So we said he had to crochet. So
Yeah.
Tell me about the Crochet Sanctuary then, please. How did it all come about?
one of Lisa's lucky ideas again. She just comes to group sometimes and she'll say, oh, I want to do this. And I'll go, all right, then we'll do it. And she's like, really? And then,
Yeah, she kind of makes me follow them through. Everybody gets ideas, don't they? And you just think, nah, I'll not do that because this is complicated or that's complicated. Well, Lynda makes me follow them through, so she can blame me, but she actually, encourages me. And she can justify everything as well.
I'm very good at that.
So I'd been gifted a crochet day at a retreat by my family for my birthday, and I came away and thought, oh, I could so easily do that and do that so much better. So it was something that I wanted to do, and I spent a year trying to find a venue, and I couldn't find a venue because you've got to kind of find a venue that has everything that you want. And for me personally, I would not go to a retreat if I couldn't have my own bedroom, because I wouldn't share with anyone. I would have to have an ensuite because there's no way that I would share a toilet or a bathroom with anyone. And I would want somewhere with a comfy seat to sit on, because I'm not, I don't know about you or anybody else, but I sit in a corporate office most of the week, and the last thing I wanted to be doing is that on a weekend as well. So there's loads of little things, like the bedroom situation, the bathroom situation, comfy seating, having somebody to carry out catering so that you've got a constant supply of fresh drinks and teas and coffees, and snacks all throughout the day, and you want your lunch catered for, your breakfast, your evening meal, and not everywhere has all that or does all that. So it took a long time, and I kind of given up the idea of it, and then said to Linda, you need to come on one of these things with me, shall we go? And we actually, really short notice, wasn't it?
It was last minute booking.
I think I rang you on the Thursday and said, I want you to come with me, and there's 2 spaces, and do you want to go? So we went on the Saturday, and Linda came in and was like, yeah, we so need to do this. But we found a venue pretty quickly after that, didn't we?
It was the second one I'd looked at with you.
Yeah.
Because the first one was lovely, but they didn't have enough seats, so that was the issue.
But also they were trying to put us in a room that didn't have windows, and I know that sounds finicky, but like we like somewhere where there's nice ceilings. And I know that sounds daft, or there's a fireplace, or nice big windows and nice view. And
this is because Lisa melts down if there's ceiling tiles. She's like, there wouldn't be ceiling tiles in your living room, so we're not having
a good point.
It's got to be nice, isn't it?
So you're inspired by your surroundings.
Yeah, well, maybe, I don't know. Maybe
well, actually, the venue that we do host the Crochet Sanctuary at, we actually designed one of the CAL blankets based on the grounds. So the water garden blanket, outside the front of the hotel, there's like a pond where a lot of people have wedding pictures taken because there's a little bridge over the water and everything, and that's what inspired us one day when we were driving in. We were like, we could do a pond blanket.
So yeah, I suppose we are inspired by our surroundings. So but I think we decided we were going to do it. It was in the June, and we didn't have our first weekend until the February the year after. But yeah, we were in a little bit of a panic, weren't we? Because we've never done it before. We were contractually obliged and financially obliged at that point to go ahead with it, and it worked. Surprisingly, didn't it?
It did. We were just scared that we weren't going to be able to sell all the rooms because, like, obviously, with it being a new thing, nobody really knew us, so it was quite frightening. But yeah, it worked out, so it's all right.
Brilliant. So, how many have you done? Do you know?
Ooh.
I think it's about 11 or 12 weekends, and then sort of maybe 8 or 9 days. That would be then, maybe day only ones.
We've done more than that, haven't we?
I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, because we only do six.
We used to do 5 a year, and then now we 6 a year, so it is 2 years. Yeah. It's about 11.
Yeah.
It feels like a lot more, in a good way.
Do you find that you have the same people coming back each time, or do you get new people all the time?
It's a mix, I think. It's quite a mix. We have a few people that have actually attended every single weekend up until this point. And then we do get new people, but because the way we structure it, we're obviously in the room together crocheting, and then every time we go to the restaurant, we have a huge table and everyone sits together. Nobody sort of feels left out, and who do I sit with? And I think by Sunday, even like the people, it's the first event, we just feel like family, so nobody feels left out. And
but it's nice when we do get new people come along, because sometimes, I mean, don't get me wrong, having people that return all the time is brilliant, but yeah, when we get new people come along, we kind of get them hooked as well. It's good.
Brilliant. So if anybody wants to find out about the Crochet Sanctuary, what should they do?
They can go on to our website, which is crochetsanctuary.co.uk, or they can go on to Instagram, which we are the Crochet Sanctuary on Instagram, and the same again on Facebook as well. And our phone numbers are on there as well if they wanted to give us a tinkle and find out more about it.
Brilliant.
But I think one of the biggest questions that we get is, do people go on their own? I've got nobody to come with me. Is it for beginners? And you know, that's one of our biggest things, is making sure that if people do come on their own, that they don't feel left out, because that is the worst. Even like Lynda said, you know, when we go to the restaurant, we all sit on one table, because there's nothing worse, is there, than feeling, you know, like you don't know anybody. And we always do an icebreaker as well, which not everybody likes, but it does break the ice. It does, you know, you do get to know people, and it's a little bit of a laugh before we start. And also, Lynda and I don't take part in the project, so if we have got anybody who's a beginner or needs a little bit of help, then we just float around the room all day helping people if they need it. So I just think it's one of those things, it's a bit indulgent, isn't it? Self-indulgent, but it's
nice to treat yourself sometimes though, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's why we started it, isn't it?
Yeah. So we can go every time. It's great.
You've got the perfect excuse.
Yeah, because they're not cheap. You know, it's not a cheap weekend away. It is indulgent, but it feels like you've been away for a whole week. It's that relaxing, so it's worth it.
I think as well, we do try to give the best value we can as well while you're at the weekend. So we have gift bags that's got lots of random weird little bits that we buy, that we try to keep to the theme of whatever weekend it is, and you get plenty of yarn for your project, you get yarn to take home at the end. So we have lots of snacks. We have a sweet cart, so we have like quite a lot of value, I think, even though it is quite expensive to do it.
Yeah,
brilliant.
We'll try anyway.
If anybody's interested in taking part of the Pandemonium CAL and they're not already involved, how do they find out about the pattern?
Literally Facebook. It's all run through Facebook, and if they're on Instagram, there are links from our Instagram page that will take you through to the Facebook page for Pandemonium. But yeah, it's just to join that page, and all the patterns are on there. Each part only has 7 rows. So there's not that much catching up to do just yet.
Then we release two patterns each week, so there's 14 rows every week, released in 2 parts. And then obviously at the end of the CAL, the pattern will be available like in a haul forever. If people aren't on Facebook, and then they can get the pattern after the fact. So.
Well, on behalf of all of those who are taking part in it at the moment, thank you so much for doing it, ladies, because it's a real high point twice a week, knowing that there's another 7 rows coming my way that can distract me from emptying my cupboards and doing the laundry, which I should really be doing, but I'm not bothering.
I think that was the idea behind it, is that, you know, these are unprecedented times that we're going through, aren't they? And you know, I've got that much scrap yarn, and Lynda's got that much. And if you're a crocheter or a knitter, you have tons of it. And you know, if you can make something pretty out of something ugly, you know, well, ugly times, aren't they? They're not. That's what I'm trying to say. You get something nice at the end of it. But yeah, hopefully it's taking
something to focus on as well. So like, obviously everyone who's taking part in making the pattern, they've got the releases to look forward to every week, but we've got to keep on top of the pattern in order to have those releases there on time, so it gives us focus as well, so we're not dwelling on the weird situation that we're all in at the moment.
It's a nice distraction.
Thank you so much to Lisa Hesketh and Lynda-Rose Simonini for speaking to me. I really enjoyed our chat, and I hope you enjoyed hearing it too. My thanks to them as well for organising the Pandemonium CAL. It's such a highlight to my week when I see the next part of the patterns being released. As Lisa very rightly says, it's a chance to make something beautiful out of something ugly. I'll put all the details for the CAL and the Crochet Sanctuary in the show notes for this episode, which you can find at makingstitchespodcast.com. Please follow Making Stitches Podcast on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, and then you won't miss out on the next episode when it comes along. Thank you so much for listening. I'll be back again next week with another episode, and I'll be hearing from another fabulous crochet designer. I can't wait to share it with you then. Until next time, stay safe and enjoy your crafting.